ignore the excessively heavy makeup. It was for a function today. Okay, so welcome to the first in a little series of videos all about my favourite mods. Obviously, if you are playing The Sims on console, then obviously mods will not apply to you, so feel free to skip this whole series, basically. But for PC players, I really can't recommend enough certain mods. Obviously, all of these have to be taken with a pinch of salt. At any time, the creators could stop supporting them, they could go out of date, and then they could totally screw your game up, and you do need to be aware of that. So that is my disclaimer. However, I personally, I wouldn't play the game without many of these mods. I was very reluctant to use them when I first started playing because I was just worried that I was going to screw my game up. But in the end, I decided, what the hell, this game is boring me. And yeah, with certain mods, I think it makes it a great game. So yeah, I wouldn't be without them now. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my favourite mods for just improving general gameplay, tweaking little problems, so on and so forth. Then I'm going to do another one on the best mods, I think, for family gameplay, because I think that's quite a popular one. And then I'm going to do another video certainly on the best mods for improving occult gameplay, because I know not everyone likes playing with occults, but I'm sure there's plenty of people like me who do. And I feel that often gets kind of neglected. There's a lot of videos that talk about, you know, meaningful stories and wonderful whims, wicked whims, so on and so forth, all of those things, which are great fun. But there's a lot of other great mods out there that I feel don't get as much recognition. And yeah, I think they really should. So, let's get started. I have here my trusty notebook. Okay, so the first website that I'm going to talk about, this is one that you absolutely need to know about. And this is the Sims4 website. Obviously the link is in the description to the homepage of this site. I can't link to the individual mods themselves because it will just link to the pages, so you're going to have to do a little bit of exploring, but that's okay. Now this is an absolutely fantastic website that you will definitely want to bookmark, and you will definitely need it in your life. Essentially, if you have ever been irritated by some very stupid little thing that your sim keeps doing, chances are there is a mod on the site that will fix it for you. And if you haven't been irritated by some little thing that your sim keeps doing, then are you sure you're playing the same game as the rest of us? So as you can see, most packs are covered in their own sections here, and then obviously there's also a more general section on cooking mods, and you'll also find obviously down at the bottom you've got miscellaneous mods. That obviously is everything else for general gameplay. You're going to need to do a lot of scrolling through this because they're not in any particular order, but it is well worth doing because you will probably come across something that you hadn't even thought of that you needed in your game, and you'll realise you did need it. So yeah, if you don't speak German, don't worry. If you look at the descriptions, go on, look again, you'll see, oh yes, they're actually in English underneath it, so you don't need to worry about, you know, relying on a dodgy browser translation. It's fine. If you are new to adding mods in your game, then yeah, let me just show you. All you need to do is click to download them. You just simply click. There we go. And as I say, if you are totally new to adding mods and you don't know what to do with them, don't panic. It's really, really, really easy. Just stay tuned to the end of the video, and I will show you how to install them. Now, obviously there are dozens and dozens of mods on here, so I obviously do not have time to go through all of them, so do go and explore for yourself. But just to give you a little flavour, I have just noted some down, and this is in no particular order. But some of the mods on here, which I think will fix some of the most common complaints that people make about the game, are, for example, we have on here a mod that will bury that fantastically irritating ask if mermaid interaction. What this mod does is it means that mermaids will tell you that they're a mermaid, and if they don't tell you, they're not one, right? End of story. So it gets rid of that. Obviously, if you have island living, you've probably been irritated by that at some point. There is a mod on here which entirely kind of reforms the conversation menu to bury certain social interactions and bring others to the top. Because I think we've all been irritated at some time by the fact that you click on a sim and the most stupid things come up that you would never want to ask them, and the obvious ones seem to have got buried to the bottom for some reason. So there is a mod on here that will reform that, but to be honest, I don't entirely understand how it works at the moment. I downloaded it the other day and it looks a little bit complicated. There's dozens and dozens of options, and I need to play around with that. But do explore that if you are annoyed by the social, you know what I mean, the pie menu thing you get. It's not a menu, is it? Well, it's a menu, whatever it is, that thing. But yeah, some of the other mods that you'll find on here, you've got mods for ensuring you get less celebrities turning up everywhere. If you've got Get Famous, if you've got Dine Out, there are a number of mods that will fix the most appalling bugs in it. So things like, for example, your Sims wandering about indefinitely, never sitting down to eat, or if they're working in the restaurant, they never actually serve you. You've got mods for that. On the subject of eating, we've also got faster cooking times. This is so useful, especially if you're doing some kind of child at 100 baby challenge or something and you're doing loads of cooking. And your sim stands there for ages doing, you know what I mean. This it turns down the idle animations. It doesn't turn them off, so they still do behave like Sims. It just means they don't take like half an hour to cook their food, which I know may be realistic, but it's also quite irritating. Also, in the cooking section, if you do have to get to work, you may have been slightly irritated by the fact that baking doesn't seem to count as cooking. Different menu, and therefore also doesn't feel hunger, which means that your sim can technically sit there and eat 10 donuts and a chocolate cake and still be hungry, which is just not a pleasant image. So you have got a mod that will make bread items actually fulfill hunger. A general base game one that I think everyone will be wanting is things to turn down. So for example, you've got less autonomous computer use, so that your Sims won't constantly be going over to the computer. Less autonomous tea and coffee drinking, and indeed general brewing, which I think we all know is fabulous. Which I think we all know is... Thank you, dishwasher. Which I think we all know is fabulously irritating. Also, my particular favourite here is you can, as a mod, to create no autonomous clay modelling, because I know this one drives me nuts. I know it's such a small thing, but it's so irritating. If you have that lump of clay somewhere on your lot, which is useful, sometimes you want your Sims just to get a little bit of inspiration to paint a picture or something, so do some clay modelling, yeah, fine. Every flipping Sim in the household, and every guest who comes round, goes and picks up this bloody bit of clay, models it into something, and then sticks it on your dining table. And it's always on the dining table, blocking the space where your Sims need to eat. So yeah, another one I really love, because this always super irritated me, is the fact that you cannot actually feed your hamster until it is starving to death. So if you do have My First Pet, you'll realise you can't fill up the pet bowls until they're literally empty. So as soon as you're actually able to do anything about it, you've already got the notification saying, oh, so-and-so's starving to death. Well, thank you. So yes, is a mod to allow you to fill up the bowls as you go along, so you don't have to actually wait till it's starving to feed it. You've also got various mods to tweak the absurd outfits that townies turn up in. I know some people find them fun, so you know, but if they do annoy you, you can do something about it. You've also got various dress code options to add to various places and festivals. So for example, if you have city living, you can tweak the festival outfits, like you might have the romance festival. You can make it so that everyone turns up in formal wear or party wear, or has to wear red and pink. All sorts of different options depending on how far you want to go with it. You can also stop people wandering around the realm of magic in their jeans if you want, by making that like a formal kind of event. You've also got a mod to disable the has to pee walk for all except children, because it's one thing for children to walk along like that, but come on, adults should just run to the toilet. So that's useful if you do like to run your Sims into the ground before dealing with their needs, and you suddenly realise, oh, he needs the bathroom, and he's not going to make it because of that stupid walk. So yeah, you've got that one. What else have we got on here? You've also got various tweaks to various packs to improve them. Little things like making the herbalism skill not quite so boring, to build up through endless book learning. Also, one of my favourite ones is the away actions mod. I'm going to talk more about this in my family gameplay video, because it's super useful for that. Because if you are running a large family, which I like to do personally because I like the chaos element that adds, but then if you do want to go off travelling with a couple of your Sims and leave the rest behind, which I think is a really good thing to do, because I think part of the reason why I think a lot of us get bored with our Sims is that we do get stuck in the same household, which is a little bit like real life at the moment, unfortunately, and we kind of forget to go off exploring. But it does slightly bug me personally. I take a couple of my Sims off and the others do bugger all. So yeah, as I say, I will show you more of this model. I'll actually show it to you in the family gameplay video that I'm going to talk about. But all this mod does is it improves the number of options that you have. So if you are away from your lot, you can have much more control over your Sims that are left behind. So you can have them building up any skill, my skill that you have the appropriate patch for, obviously. So if you have to be honest, I've had this mod in my game for so long, so I can never quite remember what options you did have before. I know you had a few, but I think if you left them and they say they were building chess playing chess when you left the lot, you could have them continue to build up the logic skill. But if you don't have them doing something, you can't get them to do it. But anyway, you can with this. You can have them build up any skill you like, and they'll just find a way to do it, and that's fine. Also, if your Sims have a particular promotion task they need to do for work, you can tell them to do it remotely. You can also make kids do their homework. So all those kinds of things. So you just, instead of leaving your Sims idle, you can deal with that. Yeah, and then there's a whole lot of other random, there's little mods to remove things like, for example, removing the highlights that play around various little objects when you go to certain locations, or many of the unrealistic animations, you know, like the giant butterflies that play around your toddler's heads when they're playing with toys, or that kind of thing. Obviously, I mean, personally, I don't have any problems with these, but if, yeah, I could see why some people might find them a little bit irritating, because they do kind of break you out of the kind of suspension of disbelief, so to speak. So yeah, if you would rather get rid of those, you've got mods to fix all of those things. So yeah, I definitely recommend exploring this site. Obviously, as I say, that's just a handful of the mods that are on there. There are plenty more. So definitely go and have a look. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the contentious subject of trait mods. Now, this is a bit of a problematic one, because every few months EA pretty much guaranteed to release an update that will scrub all your trait mods. So for example, last November, then they introduced sentiments. All trait mods stopped working. Well, I mean, in the sense that you can still play a game which has them in. I don't know if it would, I mean, I found it fine. Whether some people might find this makes their game crash, I don't know, it might do. But certainly for me, I found it was fine. But what would happen is simply that if you hover over the sim in the little, you know, your relationships thing, so then hover over a sim that you've met which has these modded traits, nothing happens. There's no box comes up at all, it won't show you the traits. And if you click open sim profile, nothing happens. can't open it if you've got modded traits on there. So, and that happened to pretty much all the traits that you have, which is a bit of a pain. So be warned, trait mods are a little bit tricky. If you have them in your game, you will probably have to re-update them very regularly, and that means, of course, you always have to be prepared for the fact that at any time you might find one that you really, really like, and then the creator starts updating it. So, unless you want to take up modding yourself and remake it, I'm told it's not that difficult, but I haven't dared try it myself. But yeah, no. Once I get started on a project, I get obsessed with it. I would have to finish it, so best left alone. At least until I have a lot more time on my hands. So yes, that is the case with a couple of my favourite trait mods I know I've come across one for Twilight Sims. I have sent a message asking if they're going to be updating any of the traits again. I haven't had a reply yet. Because that had some fantastic wins. The Miss Throat trait, the sort of Mythansbury trait was really quite funny. Because basically any sim with it gets tense around any other sims and also makes every other sim in the vicinity feel tense, which adds a useful bit of chaos to your game, because obviously any randomly generated NPC sim is going to have any of these modded traits as well you won't know about. So suddenly every sim in the area will become tense because some sim has just popped in the room. And I like adding a bit of chaos. And my favourite one actually of Twilight Sims ones was the Whale It My Parents, which apparently was based on something in Sims Medieval, which I never played, but that's hilarious. Because it causes your sim every so often to fly into a whale rage, where they spend 8 hours stomping around in sheer fury. And it's completely random, it will just suddenly come on. So I really like the way it adds chaos to your game. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, of course, but I like to have a bit of randomness, something that I can't control in the game, for a change. But yes, as I say, those traits have not been updated for the November patch, so you can use them, but they will screw up all your sentiments. They won't work with them. But so yeah, it's just a little thing to always bear in mind if you're going to use modded traits. Don't get too attached to them, and always keep checking every time that there's a patch update. Check to see if they've been messed up, and then check to find updated versions. But yes, some that I would definitely recommend. Definitely look at the Qingyu. I'm not quite sure if that's how we're meant to say it, so apologies. But definitely, this is probably the best one I've found. This, for starters, has a very, very useful mod which you definitely want to get if you're going to add modded traits. Which, for starters, yeah, this one here. This will allow you to add more than the very small number of traits that you can add in the game. What's really nice about this is you get a ton of options. Don't get too confused with this. Obviously you only need to put one in your mods folder, and you just need to pick one. So they all up the number of traits that you have for pets. I presume if you don't have cats and dogs, it's not a problem. Check the description, because I'm not quite sure, because I do have it, so I don't really worry about it. But you then have a ton of options, so you can just up the number of traits, just a couple more traits, just sort of 5 traits, you know, if you used a sensible number, or you can go up a little bit more, or a little bit more, or of course you can go up to, I'm not quite sure what the highest number is, but I know it's some absurd number, which would mean that your Sims at any given time probably have about 30 moodlets for different emotions, and it will result in absolute chaos. But I really like the way that you have that option, you know, you can be sensible and have something that will actually work in your game, or you can screw it up entirely. It's your choice, and you should have that choice. So yeah, this is a fantastically useful little mod. If you do get this, then if you do also have your cats and dogs, you'll also want to download the mod that goes along with it, which is Disable Human Traits for Pets, because otherwise what this will do is when you go to create your cats and your dogs, you'll get all the human traits listed. Which might sound fun, but the thing is they won't work, because obviously the animations aren't there for moodlets, they're not programmed for pets. So I'm not quite sure what happens, to be honest, if just nothing happens, or if it causes terrible things to happen in your game. Not quite sure. But either way, yeah, they won't work. So just get the disallow human traits for pets. Once you've got that, then obviously you can add the number of traits that you will want to your Sims, which will make life more interesting, because if you're going to add hundreds of traits, it's a shame if you can only use 3 of them at a time. Life's going to get boring, and traits are a bit rubbish anyway, so you need more of them, because that way, at least, yeah, right, your Sims are just getting random moodlets because of a painting they walked past, which is a bit dull, but at least they're getting dozens of different moodlets, so you don't quite know what's going to happen, which makes them a bit more interesting, in my opinion. So yes, while we're on this particular site, what you are definitely going to want to look at is this pack, which as you can see is in 5 parts, and this contains 100 new traits, all of which are base game compatible. This is being regularly updated. As you can see, it was last, well, as of when I'm recording this video, it was last updated for the January patch, which only came out a few days ago, and the traits were all updated within days. This has always been regularly updated, so at least as of when I'm recording this video, these traits are very safe to use. They, as I say, are regularly updated, so they will work with all the latest game patches. You've also, as you can see, got new toddler traits on here, and you've got various other traits for yeah, all sorts of different options. So definitely have a look through all of these, and I definitely recommend these because, as I say, they are well maintained. Another excellent source for traits I would recommend, Snowy95, at least I think that's how we're saying it. I'm not sure the significance of the 3 eyes, but Snowy! I like it. Anyway, fantastically talented modder. I absolutely love so many of the things that they've produced. But yes, if you're looking for traits, again, great source of traits. Again, they are regularly updated. Recently, a whole new lot of them was released, all of which were updated for current patch, as in like the one that came out in January. And if you are looking to make, in particular, sort of make some of your occult sims a little bit more interesting, maybe. So yes, if you've been getting annoyed at the lack of variety in occult sims, well, here you will find the much sought after fairies, pixies, werewolves, and a whole host of other things besides zombies, more interesting ghosts, all of those kinds of things by way of traits. So yeah, definitely look into these. They're really, really good. You'll also find a graveyard locked trait here if you want your graveyards. And yes, I will also be coming back to this particular creator on many occasions, because they're also going to feature in my family gameplay one and occult ones, because yeah, they do both and they're very, very good. So another little teensy little mod that I'm going to mention here, and I say mod, it's not a mod at all really, it's a piece of custom content, but it works like a mod, and that is this lovely little candle. May seem very innocuous. Now there are actually 2 versions of this. There is one that is basically just a scented candle, which is to use as decor, but then you also have this other version, and all this does is creates a nice little aura of a particular mood around it. Very, very simple. But and I mention this just because obviously you can get similar effects. So if you've got Spa Day, for example, you can burn some incense, but I know I've found whenever I light a stick of incense, it basically sets my house on fire, which I find slightly irritating, because I use incense a lot in real life and it does not set your house on fire. If you have it in an incense burner, you don't even have to watch it. I mean, okay, that's not a safety tip that I'm recommending for other people, by the way, to leave incense on. But I'm just saying, the principle, come on. Anyone who uses incense knows. You do not stand over there watching it the whole time in case it catches fire. For goodness sakes, it's in a fireproof dish. So yeah, but if you don't have spa day, you don't have the answers at all. So, but yes, this can just be very useful if, for example, you want to just keep your sim in a particular mood whilst they write a book or something like that. Or maybe you're in the painting career and you've been told to make an angry painting. Oh, I forgot. How do I get my sim angry at this? You know what it's like. They'll flip over into any emotion so easily, except when you actually want them to. So this can be very useful just to whip out one of these candles, and it just ensures that they are in a particular mood. And it won't burn your house down, which is good. Okay, so finally on traits, obviously that was just a couple of creators. I know there are hundreds and hundreds of other ones out there, so do keep looking, but that's just a couple that I know about that have tested out their traits. They're very, very good, they work, and they are being constantly updated. Now if you do go on a website like Mod the Sims, for example, which I've linked in the description, you will find dozens and dozens of trait mods. So there's a category on there for trait mods. There are some lovely ones on there, however, an awful lot of them do seem to get put on there and they're not updated. Some of them actually say they're not being updated anymore, but there's also an awful lot that they don't specify. But I've looked back, many times, and well, they don't seem to be. So yeah, just be aware, check the date they were uploaded, and if it was like a year ago, the chances are they're probably not going to work. With newer patches that have been released since then. So just be aware of that, and don't get too excited if you read one that sounds really good. Check the date first before you get excited. Okay, another wincy little mod that we're going to talk about. Again, you'll find this on Mod the Sims. You'll find all of these, and here we go. Now you will also need just a little mod here. So again, link in the description. I think you possibly need this. Some of them it says you may need it for, but we're not sure. So I'm not sure either. So I'm just gonna say get this one as well, because you may need it for some of these. For various career mods. And then if you go on to Mod the Sims, and as I say, you will find a whole host of really useful little career things here. So one of the things that are really, really nice is a little mod, a little series of mods which will just turn your some of your existing base game careers into careers like the style influencer career, for example, where you have the option to work from home if you want to. So you can still send your Sims off to work if you want to, but it does give you that work from home option, and this is really useful if you're just getting a little bit bored and you just want your Sims to stay at home for a bit and get them to do something, So you've got ones, for example, the athlete, the writer, criminal, various things that logically you could do at home. Also, if you are going for realism and you want to put your Sims in lockdown so that they can suffer with you, you can now have them work from home. You've also got the option for your kids to have homeschooling with this mod, effectively, because you can swing from school. I haven't actually seen a one for the teens, for the high school one, but the what they call primary school in America, grade school, you've got that option, work from home. Now, one caveat with that is I know I used this mod it was relatively recently, and I did have a few problems where some of the daily tasks were appearing blank for the grade school one. The others I found generally they were fine, but then again recently the entertainer one I had a problem with, where I was doing some of the tasks on it but it wasn't showing up as completed. But then I noticed there has been an update for it, I think, recently, which I've now downloaded, the update, so it may be that it was getting an update for whatever reason. So yeah, test this out, basically, see if it works for you. But as I say, most of them have recently been updated, so I'm hoping that they're fine now. I just need to check that. And also, while we're on the subject of careers, obviously you will find a whole host of new modded careers. You'll find various ones on Mod the Sims. Again, be cautious of ones that were uploaded years ago. I've had some that were uploaded that still work, but others don't. And when you tell your Sim to, you enroll your Sim in the, you know what I mean. You get the Sim the job, it gets to the time they're supposed to go off to work and they just don't do anything. They don't go, and nothing happens. So be aware that may happen with some of them. If you're really, really into modded careers, however, and you do want to have Sims which I've always found them to be very reliable, then you will need this website here. And here, as you can see, there's an alphabetical list of every career you could ever want. So, while on the subject of lists of everything you could ever want, if you did used to play Sims 3 and you missed the Sims 3 aspirations, then you'll be wanted to head back to Snowy 95, and here you will find a list of every aspiration from the Sims 3 that is possible to do in the Sims 4 and hasn't already been included, made to work for the Sims 4. So yes, if you are getting bored with your current list of aspirations, then there you go. And Mod The Sims also has a number of other aspirations, as detailed here, which again you can add now. Again, I have come across a few of these where individual ones in them just won't complete. So the ones I've listed here are the ones that are bloody dishwasher. So the ones I've listed here are the ones that are currently working as of the last time I tested them, which was a few days ago. Obviously, by the time you watch this video, I can't guarantee that they'll still be working. But, yeah, they certainly were there. So, okay, so a couple of other brief little things to mention if you are not familiar with, Scummer's famous mods. Definitely get familiar with them. Again, here, link in description. If, like me, you got super irritated by that dishwashing in the bloody bathroom, well, there's a cure for that. I've heard a rumour it's been fixed by the latest patch. In the patch notes it said it was going to be fixed. Well, I'm sorry, I tested it out in my game and it was actually worse. The Sims only ever wash the dishes in the bathroom. They never use the kitchen sink since that update. So, I don't know, maybe it's just me. But yeah, if your Sims are still doing that, then you'll need this. You've also got some really useful other little mods here. Working alarm clocks, for example, if you constantly forget to wake your Sims up when you're going through on speed 3 and while they're asleep, then that's fabulously useful. So yeah, there are a number of little things there that you should definitely check out.